All right, we're back, and we're back for episode 2, and we're calling this spiritual warfare and our love relationships. Because I believe you have to have like a connection, and we're calling it a romantic connection to even get to marriage. But that's really, marriage is really what we're aiming for: spiritual warfare and marriage, anti-marriage spirits. But before you can even get there, as I mentioned, you have to date. Like, right, you have to connect, you have to meet someone that you're at least attracted to, right? So we spoke in the last episode about it can look different ways. So you can see a pattern in your family, and so you're able to examine if is it there's something like a bloodline curse or a family or foundational curse that we're dealing with that needs to be broken. If we saw, 5 people in the in of a particular age, they're older, never been married, or no one can stay married. If they get married, it's like, oh yeah, I was married for a year. Oh yeah, we got married, but it was like 6 months. Like they can't stay married. They shouldn't have been married to begin with, but it didn't last long when they did it anyway. We have that type. We'll deal with it separate. We have the type where, you once met quality people, and you can pinpoint when there was a shift as an individual, right? And then after then, you didn't date. You didn't meet anybody worth dating. The quality of people you met didn't you met no one you were equally yoked with anyway, or that you even desired to date. So it wasn't a choice that you made. And as I said before, this is about people who want to get married. Not if you're like, you know what, I like playing the field, I don't think I'll ever get married, whoop-de whoop-de-whoop. But we're going to deal with some scriptures because that's what I like to do. Okay, so let's start here. We know, and it's some very, the Bible talks about marriage heavily because it's a covenant that God created. Like, marriage is beautiful. We're as a team and as a couple that God put together. That means you have a purpose together in this earth. And so let's look at some of the scriptures. So we're going to start with Genesis because that started it all, right? And it says, then the Lord said, not somebody else in the Bible. Then the Lord said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helper fit for him. Well, at this point, we know God has created, if we go to the book of Genesis, he's created, the heaven and the earth and the, everything in between, the fish and the beasts of the field and the every creepy crawly on the earth, and day and night, everything. And he's even created man at this point, right? And man has the attributes of man and woman, and they're created in the image of God. But that is not, even the animals, once they were created, and Adam named them, they had a mate so that they could multiply. Well, as man, we're created in God's image, and in this earth, we're to multiply and have dominion. So if the animals needed a mate to do that, to procreate and multiply, it was like, okay, well, so does man. It's not good that he is alone. And so God made the decision to take a rib from Adam, but taking the female attributes from Adam to create the woman, to be a helper to him. And they go together, because how do we know that? This appears in the Bible more than once, but we're going to read. I have several scriptures from the Bible, but I want to read a particular one. So just a second. We'll take this from Matthew 19:4-6. It says, he answered. Now this is Jesus talking to the Pharisees and some of the others who had asked him a question. And he said, he answered, this is Jesus answering, have you not read that he, and this is God, have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. Well, that's a teaching in and of itself. I remember back in the day, well, people still do it when they'll say, you know what, I took vows before God. And I remember someone that I work with, her husband, you know, he was always cheap. You know, they met in high school, and she just adored him and married him, and they had 2 kids together, but he had like 2 other kids since they've been married with somebody else. And she had been through, she had been through, to say she was so young. Because I'm gonna tell you, you know, don't we know heartbreak can weigh on your soul? And she was like, but I took these vows before God, and you know, and even in my youthfulness, I knew that was not right. Like, people use that a lot as a reason to stay, but actually the Bible says, you know what, you should not divorce unless there's sexual immorality, there's some kind of infidelity, because what God knows is when you connect with another human being, you become one with another human being. So if one person cheats and has sexual relationship with someone else, we are so pivoting to something else. But this just came to my spirit. When you connect with another human, as you're supposed to do with your spouse, you connect with another human being, you become one with that human being. Your soul connects, their spirits connect. And really, people who are children of Satan, like they are, even whether they call themselves a Satanist or someone who simply is that someone you're not equally yoked with. So they carry this, you know, new age people, or, you know, you into, oh, their energy is off, and oh, their vibe is off. Okay, those are really demonic spirits you're talking about. But if, let's say you wanted to go with bad spirits. Okay, so you done laid and connected yourself in the most intimate way with another human being, and then you come back to your marital bed. You're bringing whatever you brought, what you connected with another human being. You're taking that and you're transferring that to your marital bed. You're defiling your marital bed. And so you can bring to your spouse, your wife, or even if, you know, if it were the woman cheating, you can bring a disease to your husband or your spouse from another person. You could bring like all sorts of turmoil from bringing other spirits into your marital bed. So for that reason, the Bible says for sexual infidelity, you can actually divorce. But I get when someone really wants a reason to stay, they'll just say, you know, I took vows before God. Now, I want it to be clear. It says, well, therefore God has joined together. Let not man separate. It didn't say what we joined together. Like, oh, he fine, oh, he cute. You know, like when we were younger, oh, he's so fine. Oh, his family, you see their house, they, you know, they can live in a cute house. I'm thinking about stuff we used to talk about. Girl, he got a cute car. Like, oh, you know, he got a, you know, the stuff, just empty stuff. Because you're so young, you're a kid, right? You living at home yourself. So you talking about where his family live. They live in a nice house. That's not even his. But the things that you focus on. And so even by the time you graduate to your you know, your 20s, your early 20s, it could still be, you know, he fine and he good looking, and he majored in, you know, I think about being in college. Girl, he's studying like engineering. Girl, he gonna have a good job. And he playing on the football team. Girl. Just all of that, right? God didn't put that together necessarily, right? You can meet your spouse in junior high, high school, college, absolutely. And God definitely could have put that together. But I mean, for people who choose on their own and they think because they chose to get married in a church that God put that together. No, he didn't. And the telltale sign of that. Okay, so you know what? We're going to keep going. We're going to end this lesson with, just because you took vows in a church doesn't mean God put that together. We're going to make that the end of episode 2, and we'll pick up on episode 3.